Welcome back. What am I working on today? Well, if you've been following along with some of my videos and stuff, you already know, I guess. I'm going to try and do some queen grafting this year. I want to try and increase my number of hives, and as well, from all of the YouTubers out there that have been getting a hold of me, I want to be able to support all of you as well. So today what I'm going to be working on is I'm going to build a couple resource hives, but with a twist. I want my resource hives to work with the hive heaters. So I've pulled out our screen bottom board that we built for our hive that we did together. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to, once again, no blueprints. I'm going to modify or make a new one, but modified so that the screen bottom board and everything like that will work on top of my hive heaters. And that way, if this is successful, I'm hoping that I can also keep a nuke or two in the same footprint with a hive heater throughout next winter. So a little bit of an experiment to see how this goes as well. So I'm going to have to come up with something for the entrance. Now, most of the resource hives that I've seen out there, they have an entrance on the front and an entrance on the back. And the bug farmer has a good point, and I think he had actually asked a question on one of his last videos is, if he just splits this, does he have bee drift? Is there going to be fighting? So I don't know if I can come up with anything different. Right now, I'm kind of leaning towards an entrance on the side for both of them, but that'll give one, kind of each side. But we'll get that figured out as we go a little bit closer. I'm really not too sure what I'm going to do yet. And of course, I still want to be able to check each one for varroa mite. And the reason being is I had a buddy up here that he lost all of his hives due to varroa mite last year. I treated mine, so mine managed to make it through varroa mites. 120 kilometer windstorm when it was minus 20 degrees. They're quite resilient. So anyways, that's what we're up to today. So let's start with a standard brew box. And I want to show this too. So I just picked these up yesterday, in fact. But I put out a little video as to how to make these boxes fit. So sometimes they don't always fit. This, I was absolutely blown away by. Watch these boxes. The fit is perfect. The quality of these boxes is second to none. I don't think I've ever had any boxes that came this easy to put together. They fit perfect. The dovetails and everything like that, they're not too big, they're not too small. They've changed the way the dovetails line up, but the tops and everything line up perfectly. So I got these at Be Natural here in Grand Prairie. So if you're in this neck of the woods, I highly recommend these boxes. They're probably the best quality of box I think I've seen so far to date. And they didn't cost me any more money than the standard box. So highly recommend these. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to divide it right in half. I'm going to take my dado blade and I'm going to run a dado down. I have to be careful because of the handles here. So most of the resource hives you see, they haven't got this. They just have a board on the front. So I have to be very careful. I don't want to dado through this handle and open the box up and create other problems. So I'll probably only go about 3/8 of an inch deep on my dado, but we'll get this ripped up and then I can get this box put together. We can start building our bottom board. Let's go see how that dado blade works. Just about an absolute perfect cut. I didn't go too deep, so we're not into the handle. And I think that should work out just great. All right, let's see how this goes. Look at how those fit together. Man, so nice when everything works out. What what do I need for a board going up and down? Now I want to make sure that this top is sealed off too. And we're gonna have 2 boxes sit on top of it. So maybe what I'll do, it'll probably end up being a 4-frame because I'll probably make that a little bit wider. I think I'll cut it a piece just to come to the top, and then I will cut a piece that will cover the top all the way in. Maybe a piece 9 inches. Okay, as always, we're going to brad nail it together. Of course, I glue everything really good. And before we get going, I opened this up. I've had a few questions in the background saying, why have I always got that big hive here? This is actually a cabinet. Once again, go check out the Bug Farmer. As you've probably figured out, I watch a lot of his videos. I subscribe to him. But that's all his idea. All of my goods, my brushes, my veils, all of my tools that I need for the apiary, they go in here. I bring it in the fall just so that nothing in there freezes. I keep my essential oils and stuff in there as well. But it's about to get moved back out to the apiary, but I thought I'd leave it open for everybody to kind of take a look. That way it doesn't get all full of dust. All right, let's put this together. We'll let that dry. That glue set up. And while it does that, we will start on our bottom board. So we're going to mimic a lot of what we've already done on our bottom board. So like I said, we'll take all the dimensions, I'll cut a whole pile of these pieces, and then we'll come back and we'll see if we can't piece it all together. So some of the pieces we already know, this would be 20 inches long by 2 3/4 inches wide. We're going to need 2 of those. I should make a list. Gotta love modern technology. We're gonna need the front one here, 15 5/8. And I'm gonna make it come all the way up because remember, we're not gonna have this. We know these are 1 3/4 inches, so 1 3/4 by 15 5/8. Let's get back to our list. Times 1, 2, 3, 15 by 3/4. We won't worry about the back. And I'm going to want an extra one down here. So we'll make those 18 1/2. Let me go cut some pieces. Here are our pieces. I didn't bore you with all the cutting. I did use my my new dado, however, to get all of those done. Man, does that make a nice job. So let's mock this up. We've got our 2 sides. We have our pieces that will go down the center here. And like I said, I made it full for the front because as you can see, I cut the opening for the bees on the side this time. And I think we'll see how that works out. We've got one of these in the front, one of these in the back. Should have, this is the same length, I do believe. This one should go in the front. And then our piece will go on there. And our pieces on the side. Of course, these are so that we can staple the screen for the screen bottom board into them. And I got one piece here for the rip for the back. So there's kind of what we're looking at. Now, I've already cut the openings in the side. This is where the bees will come into each nuke. Now what I need to do is I need to get something on the end. So I'll turn this around. Let's see, hopefully it doesn't all fall apart on me. One piece did. So if you remember, we've got it notched out on the side so that the sticky board will go in there. So I still want to have the same thing here. Like I had mentioned, a buddy of mine lost all of his nukes because of mites. I don't want that to happen to me. So we're going to need a couple pieces to put in the center. I'm going to have it 2 separate sticky boards. Once again, I don't want the mites anyway to kind of crawl up and over into the other hive. I want to keep them 2 separate. So we're going to need a piece to come in underneath. I want to push that out. Let's do it over here on the edge. So I'm looking at about 19 3/8. I'll go cut those, and I'm going to dado it for the sticky boards to go in there too. I'll be back. Here we go. And I had to cut these twice. There's a difference between where I've dadoed it in here. So I actually dadoed these in the center, which meant the sticky board wasn't going to fit properly. So, like I said, the fun and games with not having any prints. So 1.5 inches by, well, it would be the same as these. So 15. I'll go cut that. I had to cut that twice. Originally, I was only going to make it the same size as what these two are. So each one of these are 3/4, so that'd be 1.5 inches. However, that left me nothing to staple my screen to. So what I did here is I've left 1.5 inches all the way around, less the 1/4 inch, so it actually leaves me 1.5 inches. So I went 1.5 inches here on each side, so that would be 3 inches, plus what I have here, which would be the 3/4. So that will leave me a nice area of screen for the heat to come up from the hive heater and into the hive. This is where we're at. While I was ripping, I ripped our entry boards. So I'm thinking here, let me see if I can turn this around. To keep it profiled like all the rest of my hives, I cut it on an angle, so it's on a 15-degree angle. I'm going to put this in here, and I'm going to make it level with the front and kind of a bit of an angle at the back. I'm hoping to encourage the bees to go forward, not backward. We'll see how that will go. I might have to put something up here just to kind of a little bit of a fence and say, hey, go this way. Maybe some arrows or traffic lights or something. No, we got enough traffic lights. So I made one of those for each side. That's it. As you heard, the wife called, supper's ready. I'm gonna go have a bite to eat. And then I got some other plans there for tonight. So we'll nail all this together tomorrow. All right, we'll set some of these parts and pieces aside here. I think we should probably start by doing, let me think about this a little bit. All right, we'll start by doing the outside. We're gonna have to put these end pieces in at the same time, just because they tie everything together. And everything's been cut so close and so tight that if we don't, we're not going to be able to slide it in and twist it in at the end afterwards. So we'll pull all of these out. So this is what we will start by putting together. So we'll leave it all set like this as we start to put it together. And if you haven't noticed by now, I'm not cheap on the glue. I try to keep my cuts as precise as I can, but there's always little imperfections, so the glue kind of fills all of that in, that anything like that that I may have missed, or any little imperfections. So you'll notice I'm never cheap. I'm never cheap on my glue. We'll get all that clapped together here in a minute. And I think you've heard me mention before, I don't know what it is, but when it comes to woodworking and wood glue, compression seems to go a long ways. I've also had some comments in some of the videos there saying, you know what, it's they're just, for the bees, they don't have to be this precise. That's fine. You don't have to make them this precise. This is just, once again, what I do. You know, I do like everything to be as precise as I possibly can. And all of my stuff out in my apiary is right in the backyard. So I'm kind of a firm believer that build it right the first time, and you know, make it as close to perfect as you can, and it'll give you years and years of trouble-free service. Kind of something my grandfather, I guess, taught me. It's worked well for everything I've done up to this point. So you don't have to make it this precise. You don't have to go to all this trouble. Once again, this is just what I do. All right, we'll get a few nails in here. I'm going to grab, I think, one of my bigger clamps. There is a little bit of a twist to these boards. That happens. You bring the lumber in from outside. It just dries a little bit different, not quite always the same. So you do end up from time to time with a little bit of twist or things like this in your lumber. Not the end of the world. With a few clamps and everything, it's easy to correct. And it's that easy. Now we'll make sure we get her all nailed together well here. I think I'll just put an extra one up front here. It's easy with the brad nailer. There's really no reason to be short fasteners. I do want to make sure that this stays square. And just a little bit of extra glue we'll get out of there. It's easy to clean up now. All right. What's next? So we're going to put our pieces in on the side. Just want to make sure that I'm not missing any steps along the way. Nope. That will be. You can see how everything, because I cut everything so tight, I don't know if you can see, there's really not much wiggle room in there. So does it have to be that tight? Probably not. Once again, the more precise you are, the better it'll probably last. And then nail it in. Oh, here we go. I may have just made a mistake. Remember these pieces on the side? So in order to nail those in, they actually get nailed in the bottom through there. I have to get this out. Should have put that piece in first. And of course now I have a couple of nails. It's going to make it even that much harder. Let's get a screwdriver. Of course, because everything is fitting so nice and snug. Whew. Okay, we got her. Get these nails out of here. So brad nails, especially on a surface that's finished, sometimes, even though the head's on there, it's easier to pull it in. Let's get this put on there. That was close. I didn't draw a line, so I want to make sure it's on there the same across. All right, now back to where we were. I just want to make sure lots of glue in there. And let's get this back inside. Sometimes it's nice to have plans and instructions, but they don't necessarily always work. There we go. All right, I think we can remove this clamp. I'm going to leave that clamp on. Now we've got to do the same to the other side. I'm going to get rid of the screwdriver. Hopefully I don't need that again. Learn from our mistakes, right? That's kind of the fun part of some of these builds. You know what? If everything went perfect all the time, well, wouldn't need these YouTube videos. Boy, that dado sure works nice. If anybody's ever thinking of getting one of those, I procrastinated for quite a few years, and now that I see what it's capable of and what you can do, I sure wish I didn't. It saves so much time, and it works so well. Just make sure we're still square. Those clamps up front sure help with all of that. What do we got next? Well, I guess if we flip this over, we take a look at the bottom. We now got to put in our pieces here for our sticky boards. So those are going to go in here right in the center. So we can mark those out. And basically what this is going to do is it's going to keep a sticky board separate for each one. Once again, I don't want any Varroa going from one side to the other. I want to make sure that I can keep these resource hives clean. That way, if I do have a problem with one resource hive, I don't have a problem with both. I can treat each one individually depending as to what it needs. I've never had a resource hive before. This is a first. If I'm going way out and way over, let me know. Once again, this is just kind of what I'm doing. I know I should keep my workbench a little bit cleaner, but what fun would that be? I just see the sun rising out there. Kind of excited to get in and do a full inspection in my hives. I haven't been able to do that this year. Kind of peek in from the top from time to time, but that's really all I've been able to do. So maybe today's the day. This track is clear. All right, this is coming right along. What do we have next? So this board's going to fit right down on top. I basically just found the center of the board. Each one of these pieces is 3/4 of an inch, so from that center I came 3/4 of an inch out each side, drew a line, and that's going to tell me where this goes. So we will have to remove these clamps now. That glue, that tight bond glue, it sets up relatively quickly. I don't know if you can see, it's already kind of getting a bit of a scum on there. Just like that. Let's set it on this end. Kind of getting to be quite the spider of clamps and parts and pieces here, but I'm trying to, normally what I do is I put part of this together, let it dry, put part of it together to let it dry, but for the video purposes, I'm trying to get it all done here in one go. All right, 2 more pieces to put together, or to put in on here. So we have one that goes down across the back here. I guess we can go ahead and put that in now. And then this one, which is going to go right down the center and provide our two individual 5-frame nukes. Actually 4-frame, 5-frame. I think we figured it would be one of the 2. Let's do this back one first. All right, our last piece to put in here in the top, which is going to divide the hive. And where is that going to go? Let's make sure it's centered. Okay. There we have it. Let's set it off to the side, let it all dry and settle up. I'm going to put a couple more clamps on here just to make sure everything stays square. And we're ready for our stand. We're just going to make the stand the same way. I'm not going to bore you with that video. We can always go back if you want to see how I do the stands. Take a look at that video where I make the stand. And then we'll come back and I'll show you how I'm going to make the top covers for these hives. All the clamps are off. I couldn't resist. I gave it a quick sand. It's coming together, starting to look pretty darn good. We have to put the screen in, and we have to build our sticky boards for down in the bottom. So we are 7, say 6 3/4. I like to bring it a little bit. So let's make our screen 6 by 17.5 times 2. Just square it up in there, staple it in. And you've probably heard me say it before, don't be cheap on your staples. There we go. I'm just going to get a 2x4 to put underneath and we'll tap them all down with a hammer. There we have it. Okay, all we have left to do is put our sticky boards in the bottom. So as you know, I make mine out of phylon, and we need it to go inside these grooves. So if I measure from one side to the other, they should both be the same. So we need to cut them at 7 1/4 by 19 1/4. If you remember, we added an inch. So 7 1/4 by 20 1/4. Let's see if they're going to fit. Okay, once again, we want to close off the back, not allow any hive beetles or mites or cold air and stuff like that to get in there as well. Keep in mind, these are going on top of a hive heater. So I think we established last time 1/2 inch on top and 1/2 inch on the bottom. So we need 2 pieces, 1/2 inch by, they should both be the same. They are so. 6 3/4. I'll go cut those. I got those pieces cut. I also made our notch for our handle in the back, and away we go. Now I marked these top and bottom just for ease. So I need one of each on here. It really makes no difference as to which one's the top, which one's the bottom. And if you remember from last time we centered these, you know what, the easiest way to do that and the same over here. We'll put one of our bottom pieces on the same spot. And with 3/4 inch brad nails, we're gonna nail the heck out of it again. The back's all closed up nice and tight. There we have it. Let's grab one of our boxes and see how it fits. I'll bring the camera over so you can see how everything fits down inside. So we have our 2 openings. One bee can come in both sides. It's all nice and tight on the bottom. We can pull out our sticky board, access to the hive heater. I think that'll work just fine. Okay, what do we got left? I still got to put one across the top and then make our top boards. Let's get to it. Okay, we're gonna make our top boards now for the hive. So we're gonna do it exactly the same way as what we made our top board for the hive that we built together. We're gonna cut 4 pieces and a piece of plywood that goes in. Of course, the trick is it's only gonna be half as wide. So as we know from last time, we cut these 7/8 inches wide by 3/4 inches deep. And then we notched it to accept the plywood, which is 3/8 plywood. So we came in 1/2 inch, and then we went down 3/8 of an inch, and we cut the rest of it out. I'll go cut those pieces. Here we go. So you can kind of see how we notched it out. We dovetailed it out on the ends. So once again, our end piece will fit right in, making a place for our plywood. This will fit on here like so, if I measured it correctly. And then we'll have the exact same thing on the other side. The tape measure still works. All right, and then we need our piece of plywood. So we're gonna need a piece of plywood 7 3/8 by, should be 19. 7 3/8 by 19. I'll go cut those. Here we go. Fits right in there, just like a glove. Okay, now, because these are going to be resource hives, we are going to be feeding them. A bucket won't fit in there. It's just too big, right? It's bigger than what the thing is. So now, I also know that with a single jar, you're out there filling it every couple days. So I'm going to put 2 jars in there. Here we have it. So 2 holes, 2 jars. And the one thing that I did do different on this one than what we did on our top regular one is I made this out of 1/4 inch plywood, where the full size one I made out of 3/8. It's not nearly as big a span, so we don't need quite as much support. There we have it. We just got to nail them together. And of course, as soon as we put the plywood in here, it's going to square everything right up. There we have it. they're both done. We got our 3/8 of an inch B space under the top. Tools will go together. They'll sit right on top. A little bit extra glue there. So we went ahead, we cut our holes for the jars. So we've got 2 jars that'll fit right in there. The sticks are out the backside. And then I went ahead and cut the holes for the screen. And what this is for is as the heat comes up from the bottom from the Hive heater, even with the feeders in place, the heat can kind of come up because my control box sits up top. So let's put it all together now. So we'll start with our Hive stand. On that goes the Hive heater. Now I do have a diffuser board. I just don't have any in here right now. On top of the Hive heater, we'll go our bottom board. Then we'll go our Hive. We've got our 2 screen boards. Then comes our control box. Then our cover. So there we have it. The bees can come out both sides. I'm hoping they're going to come out and kind of go forward. If not, I'm going to put a little wall up here just to kind of discourage them from coming this way. Hopefully that way they'll come out and they'll fly. I'm going to stain the cover, the stands, and the boxes all up. Kind of the same I do with all of my my hives. And it's just a log home finish. Let's see. Oh, put the French side up there for all of you that are bilingual out there. So we'll get that done. And then what I'm going to do is, I notice most videos out there, the resource hives are usually painted 2 different colors. So I'm going to paint the landing boards the same color as my nukes. So one will be red, one will be yellow, one will be green, and one will be blue, because, now you're saying, I've only got two of these. But like all good things, why make one when you can make 2? All the rest of the parts and pieces I've got too. So, recap. You know, the back is all sealed up so we can take our sticky boards and everything out too. Well, what another great build. So, I'm excited to get these out in the apiary, see how they work. I think these are going to work really good too for building up a couple nukes really quickly. For those of you that are following along, you know I've got a couple hives out there that I got to get into. They're probably going to have some swarm cells, so if I do, they're going straight into these babies. But once again, have any questions, please feel free to put them in the comments down below. I'll try to get back to them all as quick as I can. If you like these videos, please give me a thumbs up. As always, don't forget to subscribe. And of course, hit this bell. You'll get notifications for when I post new videos. So I'm going to get these all stained up. And until next time, take care.